Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here and welcome to today's Q&A Café, an introduction to improving CRM productivity and visibility in SAP ByDesign with your host, Laura Herculo. I'm Catherine and I will be your facilitator for today. As usual, we will have this webinar recorded, so everyone will remain on mute and we will send out that recording within a few days. Also, please don't forget to join us next Wednesday, April the 28th at our typical time, noon Mountain Time, for our next Q&A Cafe, Types of Data Uploads in SAP ByDesign Part 2, Master Data Migration. So with that, I will hand it over to Laura.
Thank you, Catherine. All right, everybody, let's jump in. We're going to do a quick CRM overview. I think I've been doing a little digging from our existing customer base and some of the prospects that I work with a lot, and we found that a lot of people aren't really using a lot or if any of the CRM type capabilities in ByDesign to manage just some of the simple things in the system. They're using spreadsheets and potentially other small free tools like maybe a HubSpot or whatnot to manage day-to-day activities and contacts, and we might be missing some of the boat in terms of the capabilities in ByDesign to handle the CRM, to give your organization a lot more visibility into what's going on. I can give you the prime example from our standpoint at VistaView, where we just implemented Business ByDesign, and now we have kind of that whole 360 type view of our accounts and opportunities and leads all the way down to the projects, because we're running everything just in one solution. We don't have to rely on multiple points of contact, and it really has cut down on a lot of the communication that happens outside of a system when you're capturing everything just directly in one solution. And since it's free because it comes with ByDesign, it's also pretty neat to be able to use it. So today we're going to jump into a quick overview on the leads, the opportunities, how those work, with more the activity management. I say if you're just really first starting to kind of think about the capabilities in ByDesign, the activities are a really great option for you to be able to track what's going on and have that information available for users, especially if you have accounts where there's a lot of different touch points in the organization, specifically professional services, where you might be dealing with sales, a project manager, project teams, and things like that. I'll kind of pepper mobile in throughout the presentation, because leads and activities are pretty prevalent in the mobile app, and as hopefully everybody's starting to get moving again in this world, we're going to be not lugging our laptops around or sitting in our office in our sweatpants, and we're going to need to be getting out and talking face-to-face with our customers. And then I'll spend time on the Outlook integration. Again, another point that's pretty neat, to be able to sync your activities, your accounts and contacts, your meetings, and emails that are coming in. And then time permitting, I am going to spend a few minutes just showing you a new feature that's coming in. Hopefully it's going to be GA in May, if not very soon after, which is the integration with Microsoft Teams. If you haven't heard, SAP's kind of has a nice cooperative engagement with Microsoft now, and we're going to start to see a lot more integration with Microsoft products, specifically around the 365. So being integration with SharePoint, you'll see the integration with Teams, as well as OneNote and whatnot, and having that all embedded within the application. So you'll get a lot more rich types of links between things, the metadata within ByDesign, from accounts to projects to transactions, like your CRM type opportunities. So with that, I don't have really any more slides today. I know if any of you have participated in mine, I usually have a whole host of slides, so we'll just jump right into it today. If you've got any questions as we go through the material today, let's just put them in the chat, and Catherine and I will address them at the end. If not, I will send you separate emails and we'll follow up with everything. So as we start talking about the CRM, again, ByDesign has kind of the soup to nuts CRM that you would have in in your Salesforce type applications or HubSpot and whatnot. So it can do all of your marketing type activities. It can send out email blasts to multiple recipients. It can manage those marketing campaigns. You can set up pricing within those marketing campaigns when someone comes in that, if you're offering a 10% off discount for my products or a certain particular type of product, we can have that. And then with the campaign, that integrates all the way through to our sales activity. Again, where a lot of systems are missing, where you're doing a standalone type of solution integrated back into the ERP, it is very hard for you to see the end result of and the ROI from any of the campaigns. A great example is I went to a trade show. I spent $200,000 to set up a booth and do all my things that are related to that. Within ByDesign, you can actually capture the cost that it takes to run that particular campaign, attach it to a project that correlates the cost against it, and then from there, any leads that I captured during that campaign, I can then see things like my lead quantity and quality for what's turned over. So anything from my leads of what has the open number of leads, what's been qualified, what's been handed over, things that are accepted and converted. So I can see that from a numbers perspective of, yep, did I generate 100 leads and what turned into an opportunity, all the way down to even just my lead funnel of being able to see something like my marketing generated revenue. So now I can see basically here are all my different campaigns, and then what value came out of that. And I can assess that and do a very easy comparison based on the spend that I had for that particular campaign, and things that you might not be able to get out of standard, a standard disparate or disjointed type solution. And from the lead side of the house, so you've got different options within the leads type area of the system. You can either set up, depending on how large your organization is or how you're capturing the leads in ByDesign, you can either have again, one of these two options where you have a marketing team and a sales team, where the marketing team is really the ones that are generating the leads and then doing a validation or a qualification, and then handing them over to a salesperson to further qualify and start to run with it. Or if you're a flatter organization where marketing strictly does marketing activities and you receive everything that comes in, or as a salesperson, you're drumming up your own leads, you can take that handoff process out and just have leads being directly assigned within the system. The way that we have it sort of set up, we've got our leads being generated through the marketing team and then handed over. And what's nice is as that happens, me as a salesperson, as I'm logged in with my rock and roll Pat Benatar, she can log into the system every morning and see exactly what's been happening on the marketing side without, again, attending any meetings or getting any sort of emails from someone else and losing track and losing sight of what's what's happening. As Pat comes in, she can look at all of these new leads. They can also get escalated. These are all configurable in your business configuration and fine tuning, and whether you want to turn these on or off. And I can drill into even the details related to this particular lead and decide whether I want to action it or not. Within any of these areas too, not only do you have these can be set up as quick links onto your dashboard, they also come into your open items as well, where I can then subscribe to these different tasks. So you'll see for certain things, again, for these types of activities in my new business, you'll see within leads that you've got accept or reject the lead. If I subscribe to that, then that'll send me an automatic email as well, in addition to the tasks showing up, which makes it a lot more, again, sales guy, hopefully they're on the road all the time, forging relationships and doing things, and they might not be necessarily logged in at any point in time into the solution. So they can take those guys on the go and be able to respond to those new leads as well. But if I just jump into this lead, you'll see that I've got that here. I also have within the mobile app, there's an option. So if I look at the leads in marketing, those would be to create my new leads or make sure marketing's following up on those different types of options. Or I also have, if I have the handover process, my new leads with the new business. So the salesperson can just jump into here and see the 1724, which is going to be corresponding to the new account prospect. And from here, they've got their different options to start to edit this lead. I know in our case, we're sitting there trying to make contact with them. We're entering notes around it, what the qualification is, the category, the source, any sort of campaign. They can edit any of these, any of this information. They also have the ability to scan. So this is one of the newer things that's coming into the application. Let's say that I just got my business card from my person, and I can just take a snapshot of that business card and have that then attached as an attachment to my lead account. So I can bring that information up anytime that I want to if I'm starting to, again, gather the contacts. Maybe I don't want to take the time and ByDesign to start keying in that I met John Smith or Sally Struthers or whoever. I can just take that now and create it and enter the data later. One of the other roadmap items that's coming out is also the machine learning type of side. If anyone's familiar with the scanning for supplier invoices that just came out, this will also, the business card reader is going to get smarter. It's going to start to parse the data and actually create the contacts for you within ByDesign. So you'll get some pretty neat information off of here. And then within the actual information, we can start to enter more contacts. And then we can start to, if I'm having a conversation, again, think about the idea of I'm at a trade show, and this comes in a lot. Anybody's at a trade show, you're collecting lots and lots of business cards, or people are signing in and doing things. We can, in essence, start to take notes about the conversations that we're having directly in here, as opposed to a third-party source like Microsoft Word or your OneNote or whatnot, right in the lead, and everybody has access to what's going on within that particular lead. Right. And within this, the salesperson can then go ahead and they can choose to accept it. And as soon as I accept it, if I refresh my screen, we'll now see that pops off of our work list. So everything's going to be done on the mobile. It's kind of happening obviously in real time. And as I start to then look at my different open opportunities, we can see all the different open open opportunities that I have. As a salesperson, I can then, as I start to qualify out more of the, let's look at leads here. Where this new account prospect is sitting, you've got the ability in here to follow up on any of these areas. As I'm starting into the new business line, we'll see all of my different open tasks that I have sitting out and any of my leads that are hanging out. The salesperson then has the capability, like if they're getting something handed over and they don't feel like they're getting the right information from the team, from either their BDR team or their marketing team, they can always send that information back for revision. We also, within any of these different areas too, you've got some quick ad hoc type reporting. If I select multiple types of data within here, I can filter out and then select from the work list. Actually, it's not working here. For some reason, it doesn't want to work. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that. Let's group by our status. So if I group these guys, I can then start to look over at different trending. You'll see this a lot in the CRM area and some in the finance, that as you set up the different groupings, you can click on the little bar chart here rather than having to drill into other reporting areas. So going into the reports list and running your own special type of report, I can see different types of analytic views directly from here. So it's a little quick trip into different analytics that keep you from creating multiple multiple types of different reports in the system very, very easily. All right. And then from there, it just allows you to drill into any of the new details. But following down just the workflow, as I move into an accepted lead to a qualified lead, you can start to generate your different pipeline within the system. So what my opportunities are. And the opportunities is a great area for, again, more visibility at a deeper level of detail for the organization to be able to see what's coming down the pipe in more of a, either from a product side of the house of what potentially do I need to procure to be able to respond to new production in a shorter amount of time from a services type of business. What types of resources am I going to need to fulfill this particular project, or how much time of resources do I need to be able to produce these things? Again, another area where using the CRM functions in ByDesign give you a lot more, again, forward viewing into forecasting and things like that. But as I drill into the opportunity and convert from that lead, automatically statuses are getting updated in the background. I'm starting to collect analytics about my handover type of metrics from marketing to sales. Everything that I've got is obviously copied over directly from the sales, from the lead into the opportunity itself. I can further categorize things if I needed to. Again, looking at my source, if I put my campaign in, what that campaign is. And as soon as I start to trigger that, we're gonna see, again, those different types of analytics from the funnel perspective start to creep up. One of the areas that I'm looking at really that I monitor on a regular basis is the sales cycle and the sales phase within the system. In ByDesign, you can actually define multiple types of sales cycles. You've got a new business sales cycle versus an existing business or an upsell or things like that, because there might be different steps that different salespeople, depending on the type of opportunity that it is that they go into, and you don't want to have to pigeonhole all of your sales guys into one certain methodology if it doesn't fit, because obviously one size doesn't always fit all. So I can define multiple sales cycles, and then within each of the different sales cycles, different sales phases. And as I start to bump up my sales phase and progress on to different areas, you'll notice that the chance of success will creep up, and that will also impact our pipeline dollars. If you're looking, again, from more of a financial aspect than either product or resourcing, this will then give you, your chance of success will weight out accordingly as you progress through what that overall pipeline value would be of what your anticipated revenue and forecast would be. Within each of these areas, these are all defined within business configuration. There's an opportunities fine-tuning activity where you can define the sales cycles, the sales phases, and then there's also another concept of what we call the analysis phase. And the analysis phase is really the normalization of all of your sales cycles, individual phases, to give you one look as to how things are progressing within the different pipeline. Within a general opportunity in here, I might have 7 steps that are in here, or 6 steps, and then I might have another one that has 10 steps. Well, I can start to define that these 2 steps equate to this one, and it should be X amount of weighted percent and things like that. So anyone looking in there really has a great view as to, no matter what's happening within any opportunity, here's how it's panning out, and here's how I anticipate things moving through. And then you can get down into the line item level, and this is giving you more granularity into what's coming down. I don't necessarily need to determine the specific products that are in there. I can just define overall different product categories that are happening and the different quantities. Like maybe it's 1 each and it's a few $1,000s. This then will allow me to do my different weighting of the opportunities. You'll see your total value, whether it's also relevant for forecasts or not. And I can also, as I'm starting to build out an opportunity, you've got different different levels with which you might want to track your opportunities, either at the header if you're not requiring them to put line item detail in or anything like that. You can just have an expected value overall for that header and then ignore any of these things. So really giving different organizations different opportunity or different options for tracking these. Another area within the opportunity area itself is what we call the sales assistant. And this area allows you to have more of a guided methodology. It's about one step lower than that sales phase. Within each of the sales phases, you might say to a salesperson, here are the activities that you need to do to progress this opportunity through. So I need to gather information on the customer, identify the most suitable entry point, blah, blah, all the way down. And any of these different activities can become mandatory. Basically, if I don't have an activity that is related to this and it's completed, I can't progress on to the next phase. And this just allows the sales guy to do really quickly add in anything that they need to be able to progress on the deal, rather than having to key in new types of activities into the system. So you've got your most suitable entry point. I can pop those guys in, I save them, assign different contacts or processors for those opportunities, and then they become part of that opportunity for me then to add in all the details. So thinking about this logically, anytime that I add these in, now they become visible within the solution, and I can start to dig into those details, and I have a very then structured and guided sales process where steps aren't being missed within the sales cycle. I also can then, even just as I open the overview and I use this as the clickable link anywhere that I am in the application, they all become again part of the different related, the sales activities that are assigned and appended to that opportunity as well, and they become a clickable link in there to be able to drill into what I've done within the opportunity itself. And then as I get into other areas too, and these are all more on the scoping side of the house or fine tuning, other areas that you can track within the within the opportunity. Let me go back to my opportunity in here. And we'll drill into that guy again, some of the different areas that we can also track from a reporting standpoint are our competitors. This is something that you would activate in marketing in your scoping section, and then those competitors become a new business partner, and you can track exactly who you're losing things to and why you're losing, and you can track competitive products and things in here too to see if they have something that's comparable to what you're offering. And then there's also another, the involved parties as well, which is another area, again, on leads, on opportunities, even on sales orders, anything within the CRM area where you can define custom type roles that you might want to track on different business documents. For example, we work with SAP a lot, so I want to track who the SAP sales rep is on my opportunity so I know who to contact when I need to. We can add things like external parties. So I've got things in here like if I'm talking about more of a construction or an engineering firm, who the architect is, who the engineering firm is, who the ultimate build to might be, and then be able to add those in. So those are all custom and ad hoc, and those allow me to, again, further assign other account parties to the organization, whether they're from the external team or I might have someone else internally that are going to be working on that. And those are again all defined in fine tuning, where it's like party role definition is the fine tuning activity where you can assign those, and then you would set up involved parties for sales. and have those then will show up within the sales area. I'm talking about even on the leads and the opportunities themselves. If I'm looking at, just even back into leads, if I'm creating leads directly into the system within the employee work distribution, you have the ability to auto-generate the employer responsible, whether it's by specific account, geography, industry, ABC class, and by defining those employee work distributions in that area to your different salespeople, the system can automatically generate the party responsible, the employee responsible for those leads. Okay, so that's just something else to know. Going a lot through some of the configurations, just kind of popping through where you might need to go if you don't have some of the CRM, if there's other specific questions if you start to play around with any of these areas and you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, because we're going through a lot of content in a short amount of time. Moving on from just your leads and opportunities area, anywhere within CRM, you have the ability, and as you know from working in ByDesign, you've got the ability to create sort of ad hoc type notifications for internal parties, but within the CRM area, we introduce more of the external type of activities within the mix. And so whether you're in an account, a contact, a lead, an opportunity, we have all these new options that pop up. Your appointments, activity tasks, emails, letters, and even faxes. So you can integrate, or phone calls, and you can integrate any sort of faxing capability or telephony provider in here and have those sorts of integrated into ByDesign, sent directly through the system if you want to. One of the nice things is you can turn these guys off. This is another fine-tuning area where if you're just working with appointments, activities, and emails, which most people are using just those guys these days, you can turn on and off the different modes of application so you don't have a lot of extraneous junk in there. But I can then do any sort of follow-up that I want to log activities to. And then within each of these areas, another fine-tuning activity, depending on how you want to report against your activities. I see a lot of people that now, and even us, we're starting to log the number of reach outs or communications that we have with our prospects or customers to say, do some analysis on what's the most effective line of communication. Is it email? Is it a phone call? Is it sending a marketing type campaign out to them, and being able to track that through activity tasks or anything like that. So we've got, within here, you've got your, again, either activity type tasks, phone calls, or whatnot, but each of these have different categories. And these are all configurable, again, within your fine tuning, where you can specify different types of, categories that are assigned to those particular types of activities. You'll notice also, as I create an activity off either a lead or an opportunity, one of the nice things is that whole kind of flow of information that I have. I don't have to keep moving back and forth through a history of events. We'll see that that image, because it's attached to the it was attached to the lead or the opportunity, and that blew through. I now can access all those different attachments or notes or links to things directly from this activity task. And then, entering all my notes, anything can be tracked as a save in process. If I create an activity task, this also creates an activity task in Outlook if I have Outlook integration implemented. But this is, again, a great list and a great capability. We're using this a lot for follow-up activities. If you think in real life, when you have pipeline calls, other meetings, and you want to set follow-up type activities, you might do that with a note on your desktop or a sticky note or something else. We can quickly using this area, figure out what do I have to do. So when am I starting this? So by the 30th, where my start date is, and then the end date of when I need to actually complete that by. I can have that as an in-process type activity, and now I can start to manage all of my work directly from my dashboard. Now I see, accounts with my opportunities, or all of my open and in-process activities are going to be listed here. So now I've got this preparation that I need to do, what's in process, and I can then sort of show it up in my calendar of what things that I need to do for those particular dates and where they're going to show up. That would integrate with your Outlook if I had this set up, because I use my own internally, so I have all of my stuff set up for our tenant and not poor Kate. But we can manage all of our activities again here, changing your status and making sure you have other follow-ups directly from here too. If I have some sort of activity and they want to move forward with a new sales order, they want to get a quote, very easy for me to trigger not only subsequent activities from the system, but also subsequent transactions. And then again, leading all back into that document flow back into the system. If you do know or haven't known, any of your communications in here, they can all be sent directly from the system. You don't have to go to Outlook and then sync it back in. We can actually send a business email directly outbound. So moving that back in, forward it on to other people within the organization as well. So it's got some nice integration within Outlook as well. Conversely, you also have the option to manage any of your activities, accounts, and contacts just directly in the mobile device as well. Now I can see same type of information that are popping up with any of my any of my new options. So now I see again my completed Q&A cafe, the prep. I see any of my open in process. If I want to filter any of these out and see what's kind of open, I can go into my search and just type in like in process as opposed to open or whatnot, and that'll just filter out automatically all the things that are sort of in flight that I need to work at. Otherwise, it's going to show you that whole list of things that are completed or not. And then being able to drill into any of the different activity tasks, seeing the due dates, being able to look at any of the details related to it and make notes on the fly, and taking out like your iPad or your Surface tablet and going into here as opposed to Word is, I think, so much more valuable in nature to be able to capture all the details that you have, and anybody can see those. The other good thing more from the administration side of doing it this way is really having the control over the interactions that your salespeople are having. When and if they do leave the organization, they're not taking all that valuable information that they've collected throughout their time with you, with them. So you really have a lot of control around that as well. That is just, again, a quick overview on the Outlook piece. One of the other areas before I do spend like a couple of minutes on the new Teams sort of integration is just the reporting side, and some of the areas that have been added in the last couple of releases. We'll just look at sales order volume as an example. This is where I might, if I was an administrator, I could do that. But any of our reports can do two new things right now. They can be enabled to do two new things. If I take this report as an example and flip that through to more of the account-based type of view, and maybe I want to just look at accounts that are less, maybe the ones that are less than $4,000 or $5,000 in sales. I can create things like value filters in here. This will allow me to look at like my bottom 10 accounts or whatnot based on my value. So very quickly, I can look at by account, a rank condition, and then say bottom count if I want to monitor where all my sales are coming from or not coming from to that respect. I can start to quickly filter those out and see, okay, who are my bottom 10 customers? Let's see how many, and then thinking about what we just covered in terms of activities, maybe I want to link in the activities report, the activity count into here to see how often do I talk to these guys, or how many leads or how many opportunities am I running for these that are resulting in this. And it gives you a great sense for how much time am I spending for little dollars in my organization. And maybe I want to now really change up my sales team a little bit, as an example, to say, okay, I'm going to start giving one guy a whole lot of these different little customers that I don't necessarily need to spend things on. I can have actions set up that can now do things like set the ABC class directly onto my accounts. So this is a quick little area for me to do mass updates to my accounts. And then I also have the ability in here to export all of these accounts to a new target group. So from anywhere within any of the sales or CRM type of reports, you now have this export all accounts to new target group. They were primarily only in the account list, but now they've opened it up to more of the CRM type functions. And the value of this is if you are running more of like the B2C type operations, or you need to send out mass communications to certain customers based on different characteristics. This allows you to really, to the point of a target group, truly target your customer base, rather than sending out 100,000 emails to your anybody that's ordered from you in the last 10 years. We can actually create reports in ByDesign to say, all right, I have this new product in X industry or X business line. So let me look at all the customers that are in this business, looking at it by their industry or customer group. So maybe I want to look at look at all my customers by this particular industry who have had sales between X and Y, or haven't ordered from me since B, and target them for an email. So you can really parse down, again, even a lot of spend that you might have to do mass email campaigns and get more targeted and probably more proactive feedback from those customers and conversion rates by just paring down that list to the people that are most likely to respond or bite on those different campaigns. So as I create and click on the export all, this now creates a brand new target group within the marketing area in the system. So you'll see that you've got marketing and then my target groups, and I can use that as the basis for a campaign. Either I can take the information and then export it out to an Excel to send to another, if you're using more of like a HubSpot type solution to do your mass marketing, or execute something directly from Business by Design. And then the last piece I'm going to go to, so I can open up for questions, is just a new function that's coming into play within ByDesign. So you'll see as I'm in my teams right now. Let's see, let's log back in again. A new little widget here. So you've got ops, and you've got your launchpad, and you've got your dashboards that are all configured. And wow, hey, how cool is that? I've now got Business by Design showing up in my Microsoft Teams. So rather than, again, thinking about your sales guys who are on the go, and maybe they don't necessarily want to log in, they're managing everything through their through Microsoft Teams and through the mobile app. This is also mobile enabled, where I can create and I can look at my dashboard directly from ByDesign. Now I've got all my different teams. I can pop open, my lead tasks that are sitting in here and do the same thing that I just did directly in ByDesign, and interact with that. But what I also can start to do now is create chats. And this is not only just an external type tool, but an external tool. If I'm on like an opportunity type call, I can pop in here, I can share information. Maybe if I'm in a meeting with a prospect about or a customer about a project that we're working on, I can bring up all the project dashboards that are related to the system or related to that particular project. I can pop back and forth between my different dashboards as well, and see all those different areas directly in ByDesign as well, and then be able to drill into the information directly from my Microsoft Teams. So it's going to add kind of a pretty neat, a neat little capability that somewhat has been lacking in the past, of the ability to use a lot of the ByDesign data and analytics that were once just really within your four walls of your organization, and open that type of information up to your customers in more of an interactive fashion when you're when you're directly in a meeting. Right. So with that, I think I will open that up. I think if there might be some questions, I actually got some questions today. I don't know, Catherine, can you read those? I can't find them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had 3 questions here. The first is, does the Outlook integration now support Office 365?
Yes, there's something that I think a setting somewhere that you need to do. I will dig up the there's a blog on that, and I will dig that up of how to get that to work.
Fabulous. And then we have another one here. Is there a way the application sends pre-generated messages to customers and prospects without recourse to Outlook? This can be text messages to phone numbers of customers and prospects.
You're talking more like drip marketing campaigns? No, not right now. There's not. The way that you could do you can do campaigns that have like post dated type of send, but no, there's not really like someone clicked on this, let me send them an email or a text message 10 days later if they haven't responded or gotten back to me. That I would say go out to Influence. I've put a thing out there for that, an idea for that for drip marketing. So go out and look at it and please vote, because I think we need it.
Agreed. And then finally here, last question. If you have a salesperson leave the organization, is there a way to move all the contacts assigned to someone over to a new user?
Yes, there's a responsibility. There's a mass update capability for accounts and contacts. It doesn't relate to in-flight things like leads and opportunities that you might have to handle through data migration to be able to do some updates to that type of information. But you can do responsibilities. I always kind of suggest, if you don't, through the account side of the house, and one thing that I didn't really get into, and I forgot, within your account itself, you've got all the general type of contact data, obviously, for your accounts, but then you've got your responsibilities. You'll see in here that I've got like Kate's assigned to these, and they're all grayed out. And there's this option here, direct responsibility. So through those employee type of employee work distribution rules, the system will automatically assign an employee responsible, which makes reassigning the accounts and contacts to a new person a lot easier if you're just popping Kate out and putting John into the new account. And then you also have, again, the opportunity in here to assign any sort of manual types of account responsibilities. All right. Hope that answered the question. So with that, join us next week for our next installment of Q&A Cafe.
Yes, yeah, our next one is types of data uploads in SAP ByDesign. That's part 2 of master data and migration. Thank you so much, Laura, for hosting today. That was fabulous. We'll hope to see everybody next week. Again, we will